Hello, everyone. We are here on, well, we're going to do a community stream. I want to talk about the topic at hand and kind of go through definitions on what exactly is woke, what woke is, rather, if I can talk tonight. But I want to introduce everybody. You probably, very likely, seen him in the comment section if you've been around. We have Shelby. How are you today, Shelby?
I'm alive.
Did you? Well, okay. What about you, Kenneth?
I am doing wonderful, wonderful day. Especially since I saw the Spider-Man movie. I'm on the Spider-Man trip. But Batman is my number one hero. But for this weekend, the occasion, it's all about Spider-Man. So
That's awesome. So did you enjoy it? No
yes, I,
spoilers, but did you enjoy it?
oh, I enjoyed it. I learned. Someone else told me I gave a non-spoiler review earlier, so don't worry, no spoilers. But yes, it is wonderful, wonderful.
Awesome. Awesome. So what about you, Raymond? How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Just coming off the high of that awesome song.
Yes.
Right? It makes me want to play Telltale again. I love those games. They're so good.
If that song was in that game, it would have made
No,
it.
it wasn't.
See, if that song was in that actual game, it would have made the game much more enjoyable for me.
Okay, so let me send looks like Hominus needs a not paired link. Let me send that again. Okay. And Dan, did your mic end up working? I'm gonna take that as a no. We were kind of hoping it did.
Damn.
Well, hopefully you get it working sometime. I just sent Hominus, if you're in there, I just sent you a non-paired link. So hopefully that'll help a little bit. But yes, so what I always try to introduce the topic for Sunday earlier in the week, and I didn't. I I got behind, and I just did it yesterday. So what we're gonna talk about initially is get woke, grow broke. If I can't even say it correctly. Get woke, go broke. A lie, a logical fallacy. Is it actually something that stands true, or is there other reasons for this? And kind of go through what it is. But my biggest issue with this is, oh, hello, Samuel. My biggest issue, hello, Black Phoenix and Richard, is woke is really a blanket term as of at least, the last couple of years. It is pretty much anything. Really, okay. I'm gonna say this in the nicest way possible. Woke and SJW have become the left's version of Nazi or Chud, right? Like it is just the right's version of that. So before we even start, I want to know what you guys think woke actually means before we go into it too much. But we have Hominus. Are you there? Maybe?
Speak, Hominus.
Well, okay, we've got 2 for 2 that are not working yet. So Shelby, what would you define initially as what woke would actually mean?
Uh, uh, First of all, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
we can
can.
hear you.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I disconnected my
Yes,
mic.
we can hear you.
Well, it's very hard to, put it into words because there is definitely the dictionary definition, which is there. I pulled it up, yeah. But it took on its own meaning and
Right.
whole like culture war thing. So I would say that woke is defined if it's pandering. That's what I think woke means.
Okay.
Because woke clearly means there's a difference between, because I used to say woke and political are two different things. Now that I
Right.
read the definition, it's totally wrong. Woke and political are basically the same thing. But I think that pandering and woke are two different things. So I don't think go
Okay.
woke, go broke is a valid term, but I definitely think that the reason that it sticks is because it's a catchy phrase. Because no one can say like start to pander, lower your standards or something like that. So
Exactly.
that's, I think that go woke, go broke is not a lie. It's just an easier way, an easier version way of saying, yeah, pandering is bad.
Are you, Hominis, you working now?
Hello?
Yes, I am. Can you
Okay.
hear me? Oh,
Yep, we can hear you. So
Yep.
what would you say?
oh great, great.
Shelby said pan. Okay, I think Dan's working too. I think we're all good now. Okay. Um, Shelby said pandering. What would
Hello,
you
can
add
you
to
hear
that?
me?
Yep,
Yes,
we can hear you, Dan.
Yes, we can hear you. I mean,
Oh,
in
thank
the
God.
entertainment industry, really? I mean,
Yes,
what
for
does woke even
movies,
mean?
TVs, comic.
I mean, in the entertainment industry, what does woke really mean? It means what? It means nothing. Just like bigger. Like the word is overused that it lost its meaning. I mean, we know that woke it refers to have
Yeah,
a
I
deep
agree.
understanding of social issues, industry,
Social issues.
or
Okay.
social issues, or social issues, case, and so on. But
Okay.
now they use it like any. Mm, they use it so much, just like Shelby said. They use it so much that it has lost its meaning.
Right.
Now they say, this character, this movie has a black female protagonist, has an Asian female protagonist. Oh, that's woke. Really? That's
Of
woke?
course.
I mean, really? I mean, isn't just normal to have female protagonists? Movies have been doing it for decades. In the 90s, in the 80s, in the 70s. I mean, what's about that?
Yeah, you're right.
What
What about
is,
you, Kenneth? What
what
do you
is
think?
new about
All of you have touched on it in one way or another. You're not totally off the base. Now, I think it also includes pandering. You're pandering to a particular group or audience that wants to see, you know, wants to see a certain political stance in the story, but just for its own merit, just like you're preaching politics just for the sake of preaching politics, and it has nothing to do with the story. Or say you want female antagonist, or say you're taking a character who is, let's say, is a white male, and then you're switching their race or switching their gender
Right.
just to do it. But does it benefit the story? Are you focusing on the character or just what they look like or what their gender is? And does it serve the story? If you're just focusing on that by itself without any reason for it, that's what you're calling rope, or talking about I don't know, things with like certain terms with woke or defund the police or that stuff. You're putting it into a story just to relate to the certain times, but you're not forwarding. It has nothing to do with your present story forward. You're just doing it to get clickbait or whatnot. I think it's and some couple of people in the chat, they're right on the money. It's like back then it's about staying socially conscious, things that started from the 60s to the day, but now because of present times, it's become a more heightened version of that. Woke is just a more extreme version of that. But
Yeah, and I
go ahead.
think you're right. I think I don't think necessarily though race swapping has to be considered woke. I think it can be like, okay, for example, I haven't seen the Eternals yet. I it just doesn't interest me because it felt like there was a lot of changes being done for more of on
Right.
an ideological side than for a story encompassing side. Now that could be me prejudging because I'm not interested in the movie. But that is that what you're kind of talking about there?
No, I'm saying just race swapping for the sake of race swapping. I'm not saying the race
Okay.
swapping itself is bad. Like, let's example. Say Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury. Now that was
yes?
established in Mark Millar. Did Mark Millar write the Ultimates? His version of the Avengers?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I'm yep, when he was like his illegitimate son or whatever it was.
I don't know if I got to that part, but even in the character, there was a scene in that comic book where they're saying, if they make a movie about us, who would you want us to be? And the Black Nick Fury literally said Samuel L. Jackson. And
Yeah.
you got it into this movie, and how Samuel L. Jackson is playing it and ever, and how he's doing it. That's what we accept, and that's where it can work and whatnot. But if you're just doing it for the sake of doing it, like say, okay, she's a woman character now, he's black, but if it doesn't benefit the story and you're just doing it just to do it, if it doesn't benefit the story, whatever, then it's hollow, and and that is turning the audience. A major part of the audience isn't going to want that. They just want to go to a movie, it being entertaining. And real quick, another thing, you're talking about politics and race over and over, and beating around people's heads, where people just want to be entertained and have a good time. And that's people of all walks of life, black, white, women. They just want to go to a story just to be entertained. But when you're preaching things to be liberal, whether it's conservative or liberal, if you're preaching to people when they just want to be entertained, I think that's also an issue too. And it's like you're just being woke all the time. I just want to come to a movie and have fun. Be
Yeah.
entertained for everyone.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
Let me get this super chat here.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Exactly.
much, Comics and Finance. Woke is used in corporate stories, is centered in cheap messaging. Ooh, Eternals was absolute fire. Okay. Well, that's awesome. You would think by a lot of what I'm going to have to check it out. I've heard both good and bad. I've heard it was boring, and I have heard it was awesome. I think it's kind of one of those movies that divides its audience, right? Some would thank you so much, Comics and Finance. Thank you, Robert. Some would think some like it hot. Is oh god, yeah. I actually wrote down a couple examples of old movies right now that would be called woke. Some like it hot would have been so woke. It's not a bad movie, but there are plenty of examples like that. Some like it hot.
But yeah,
But
I remember that movie, and it was. I don't know. I haven't seen that in a long time. Maybe it's been a long time.
About this race swapping thing, that the conversation opened with that. Right now, one of the most popular movies has a character that was race swapped, and no one seems to care the fact that Electro was race swapped, and that happened almost 5 years ago. The second Amazing Spider-Man, no one really cared.
Or Jason Momoa or Liam Neeson. It's only when it's convenient to complain about.
Yeah.
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 There are a lot of examples.
That's true.
What's that, Dan? I'm not 100% convinced it's working correctly.
Of woke.
Did anyone understand that?
No, I don't think so. I'm not 100% convinced that Dan's mic is working correctly. So go ahead, Raymond. What would you consider woke before we get into if this fallacy is true?
Well, everyone else kind of just hit the nail on the head. Shelby, Kenneth, and Hominis were all very succinct, I think. I personally just don't think it has any real meaning, and it's just used, as Comics and Finance put in the chat, it's just used as a weapon for certain people to hate on something.
I actually would say when this original definition came out, when this started being people talking about it, I would say the anti-American stuff, that would be included. The stuff that's kind of against like nuclear family. But other than that, I don't know what I could even add to this. A lot of basically, I think we all kind of agree that, politics over storytelling is the basic definition of woke, right? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, other than that and pandering can be a difficult thing because pandering goes hand in hand with capitalism. Pandering's been done since day one.
I think that it's more about the product that you're judging. Like, let's say, if you compare the new Static Shock and Nubia, the real one, would you say that one is pandering and the other one is woke? Yeah, because I definitely think that Static Shock handles that whole argument about race and BLM better than Nubia.
Oh God,
So when you think about, when you're judging it, yeah, you can clearly see the difference, and you can call something pandering and something woke. But when
you could
it's
also
just
call it bad writing.
Yeah, you can, but when you're doing it specifically for pandering so that people just see the product and they don't actually have to think about it. They just know that they're supporting the product. That's kind of pandering. That's just
Right.
yeah, it's almost the basic definition of pandering.
Right.
Getting
me get
people
this
to
super.
buy your product.
Yeah,
Robert, thank you so much.
Oh.
Sorry, 1 second. Funny how people are now turning on Superman and oh god, okay, hold on. Superman and Lois because of the I help the world, not just America trailer moment when that fits the character. It absolutely does. But they're going to see it. I feel like our society is so hypersensitive. Thank you, Robert, by the way. It's so hypersensitive that knowing that Superman is always going to go and help people that are in trouble. Like we've seen Superman in plenty of shots and plenty of movies over the earth listening, just listening for that person that needs help. But because we're so hypersensitive to that on the left or the right, you hear I'm going to help the earth and you're like, "Oh my god, now they hate America and they hate you too." Like it's just
I mean,
Superman and Lois is phenomenal.
He rebuilt the wall of China. He has the power to do that specifically, and it always only works for the Great Wall of China, nothing else.
Superman: The Quest for Peace. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
The only movie that matters in my eyes.
Well, in the comic book, Superman has always helped everybody in the world.
Right.
Yes.
In the China, Japan, Russia, whatever it is.
Then I would,
but I
would
understand.
argue and just. Oh no, sorry. Go on.
Oh, thanks. But I will understand that now the new motto, the for a bird, it rhymes.
Right.
Well, actually, the new motto for a bird tomorrow. I understand that people in the United States take it personal because it was true justice in the American way, and now they're like, oh, if he's not for the American way, then what is he fighting for? That's
a better tomorrow.
It's like, oh, he's not fighting now for America, for the United States.
To play devil's advocate, just because I like to do that. Yeah, sorry.
No.
I mean the show Lois and Superman. It's mainly aired in America, right? I don't know how popular it is in other countries. So when he says I help the world, not just America, is that towards someone who's watching the show outside of America? Which, for all I know, the show is pretty popular here in America, not in some third world country where they don't probably have HBO Max. So is it pandering for the people to feel better that Superman is doing other stuff? Or wouldn't it be better like, yeah, I help every single person and not say, not just America?
Well, sorry. Yeah, don't be assholes in the chat and don't say stuff like that. That is the quickest way to get booted from the chat.
Hello? Oh.
Can you hear me?
I'm getting a message saying, oops, something went wrong.
Yeah, same for me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
You can hear me?
Hello?
I'm just afraid to press the reload button to see what happens.
All right, it'll kick you out. If you can hear me, we should be good. I was just saying don't be assholes and don't spam. Like, don't put stuff like that in the chat.
I can't see the chat, so...
I really hope this microphone finally works.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh my god, that's so clear, man.
Much better.
Thank God.
Hello?
Yeah. What happened? Who was spamming something?
Yeah. So, anyways, hi, I'm Dan.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Everyone's like, can you hear me? Yes, we can hear everyone. Dan, what was your definition of woke before we move on?
Not really much. Like, I think I agree with everyone in terms of the fact that, like, something is woke or like, problematic. Like, woke is problematic in the sense that when it's politicized or there's no real purpose to it, they're just doing it for, like, clickbait and stuff like that.
To pander. Yeah.
What is going on with this terrible chat? Oh
Hello.
my god.
Can you
Okay,
guys
I'm
hear
so
me?
sorry, you guys.
I haven't been paying attention. What the hell's been going on?
Oh,
What?
Robert and
Yeah.
Leo and Hooded Justice, please keep an eye out. Oh my
Are you
god.
getting
I don't know
raided?
what's going on. I think I'm
Uh,
just getting trolls, but
Yeah, I think you're getting raided.
yeah,
yeah, okay. So
Oh,
we're
most
gonna
likely.
ignore all of that
yeah,
craziness
just
and
yeah. Can you guys hear me? Hello.
Yeah, I can
yep,
hear you.
Good,
yep.
good.
Okay, so we're gonna ignore it.
So,
Thank you,
we're-
Black Phoenix. And we're just gonna talk because if not, it's gonna irritate me. Okay.
Right.
I
So
just hate people being assholes to my guest. I won't allow it. I just won't.
that
Go ahead, Kenneth. I'm
I'm
sorry.
ignoring. Well, whatever they're saying, I'm ignoring it. So, but
Okay.
no, like a couple of you, someone made a point about the Electro being waist swap. I wanted to touch
Yeah,
on
that was
that.
me.
Yeah. Oh, good. What's your name? I'm sorry.
Oh, Shelby.
Shelby. Okay, Shelby. Yeah, that was a good point. I think it also depends on the character because with Electro, they can probably get away with it, and if they do it well, and if it's well written, no one will probably say anything about it. But if it's like for instance, the James Bond, people have been talking about, race swapping James Bond for a very long time, and people have
Mhm.
wanted Idris Elba to play him. Me personally, I don't have an issue with that as long as you can write it well and it's compelling, and also make it to where if you're going to take James Bond, make him black, also make it to where it's a convincing story and maybe make his experience do something cool with it. Because if he's black, at least speaking for myself, if you make him black and there's nothing original you can do with it, if it doesn't affect him any way than it would if he was Caucasian, I'm not going to be interested in it,
Idris Elba's phenomenal actor though. Like
You
I
know
think
what?
if
Y-
just like a Samuel Jackson, those are people that could
Right.
pull that character off.
Yeah.
And I he's great. He did it like I loved him in Suicide Squad and I didn't know much about him until then. And then when I looked him up, I'm like, yeah, this guy's kind of awesome.
Right.
So is Batwoman cheap or woke?
Yeah, I agree with
Ooh,
this super chat.
that
Both.
is the question.
My
would
thing
just
is,
say
I
it's
heard
bad
the show is
writing.
not good. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's the
just bad
writing.
Yeah, it's just bad writing.
And that's why
So the
people
writing
are.
is
Yeah.
pandering. I
Yeah.
think the writing is a lot of pandering.
You know what?
I think.
When Batwoman, the trailer, when Ruby Rose said that famous line of "I'm not gonna let a man take." I know. Wait. About the suit.
When it fits
When
a
the guy
woman.
says the suit, yeah, when the suit is literally perfection, it will be once it fits a woman.
You know,
And then
something
she said
that
other thing about I'm not going to let a man take credit for a woman's work. I mean, what? Aren't you stealing
Oh hell, Thorn's in the chat.
Bruce Wayne's suit, symbol and persona, and then you are saying that he's
Right.
taking credit for a woman's work? I mean, come on,
I
that's
mean, at the
Bad
same
writing.
time,
awful,
But-
at the same time,
awful
But Tristan,
writing.
that is where the woke go broke thing, because they're pandering and they're saying bad writing and it's losing viewership, it's losing viewers, therefore it's losing money, and that's where you have the term go woke, go broke.
you know where I think that where it can either go really woke or it can just be a normal product is in the marketing. And what other way can you market a show that's basically, hey, we are gender bending Batman's gonna be a woman? How do you market that without going overboard and just basically saying, yeah, we're pandering? Because
But
it
wait,
being
wait,
like, I'm a woman, all of that. I don't know.
Batman,
I
we've
don't know
always
how
had a
people-
Batwoman. So
Yeah, no,
that's not even an issue.
I don't mean Bruce being gender bent. I mean like they taking the mantle of Batman, making him a woman. How do you market that without pandering? And how can you market that without it being deemed woke, I guess?
But you shouldn't be ashamed of your gender or your sex. You
No,
erase
Kevin.
your sexuality. So if you're going through and saying I'm Batwoman, there's no issue with that. I don't.
Shelby,
Yeah, but at the same time, you're saying
I have an
it's-
answer to your question. Read those original comic books by Batgirl. It's Barbara Gordon, or read the comic book with Batwoman where Batwoman. What
A.H.
was her name?
Williams or the original.
The original. She was a gay lesbian, but she was in the military. What was the
Yeah,
character's name?
Yeah,
J.H.
and I
Williams
think
the
those
third.
were
Oh,
those were done great. But the thing is that
The
amazing.
art in that book
can
was
you
fantastic.
Right.
can you advertise the show in a way that it doesn't overly focus on whatever kind of politics it wants to talk about?
Take out the
I don't know.
politics and focus on the character. That's
Yeah,
what
but
that's
that's
But
the thing,
everything
that
is
that woman
politics.
is about her. Look, if you just want to take all the politics out, then you just have a Batman show. It wouldn't
Yeah.
even have to be Kate Kane. It would just be another Batman show. So it either embraces all those politics and it does it bad or good, depends on the writers, or it's just another generic show that doesn't really does anything.
well
And I
here
think right now it's that it's not doing anything to amaze anyone. It's just kind of there.
Go
here's the
ahead,
thing.
Kenneth.
It's like Tristan, you're saying the thing is the writing and everything. Here's the thing, you can have a show that has political machinations, but you make it even handed. You
Right.
have one side that says something and the other side that says something different, and you can make the drama out of all of that. We've done that for years. Forget not. Let's focus on the non-comic book shows. Look at shows like Law and Order or The West Wing. They had political issues, but it was even handed, and each side was wrong, each side was right, and each side was wrong. Get good storytelling, and you can have strong female characters, you can have strong minority characters. Just write them well. You can even have politics,
Right.
but focus on the both sides of it and make a compelling story. But today it's
Let
it's
someone
too much.
decide for themselves and make up their own mind.
Yeah.
Let me get these
You know
super
what?
chat guys. Robert, thank you so much. Ghostbusters 2016 could have worked with better writing. I have
Yes.
I
not
just think
seen
it's
it.
not funny at all. I just
A
think it's
hundred
not
percent.
funny.
I talked about this before with 2016. The biggest problem with that movie, it did not know what it was. And Shelby, you talk about marketing. Marketing was his biggest problem too. Like the marketing
Yes.
of that film was so deceptive because in the marketing it led you believe that it was a reboot connected to the original movie. But when you watch
It
the
was
movie,
supposed to be a continuation. Yeah, it was
yeah,
like that was the marketing. Then the other
exactly.
marketing was like, no, it's actually a reboot. Okay, it's not funny. Then what else is there to the movie? Oh, they're all female. That's the whole thing.
And
Because
yeah, I'm sorry.
if you made them all female and the movie was funny, then yeah, that would be something that
Yes.
you could hold to defend the movie. But the thing is that it's not funny, and changing the genders didn't really do anything.
Hmm.
That's
And
I think that's
they're
just my
all
take.
funny. These are the funniest comedians of the era. You could have really did something special. Paul Feig, his main problem, he did not play to his strengths. What he did in Bridesmaids, he could have put together with this
I
cast of
mean,
characters. Let them go across the hall.
Paul Feig was writing for The Office, and The Office was hilarious. What
Right.
happened? I guess that he just doesn't work right when he's alone, or he's not working with his team. That's what I think.
Well, he doesn't really, he's not a special effects guy. He doesn't know special effects. Focus on what you know. Focus on what your biggest success with Bridesmaids was. Work with these comedians, do good character development. And if you're going to have the original Ghostbusters in there, let them be in there and let them do their thing.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
We should. Yeah.
Let me get this
Kristen,
other one
take it.
real quick. Batman is super political. Hands down, yes, 100%. Look at the new storyline. Fear State is literally like Simon State. I'm sorry, I'll say it every day of the week is literally supposed to be Fauci. You can't change my mind on that. It is about mask and protest. We are looking at a storyline about that's reflecting our own, environment in a way. Of course, obviously, we don't have a Miracle Molly. That would be nice, but just saying, yes,
Fear State
it
was the
always will
biggest
be.
disappointment.
I
Fear State
know.
was the biggest disappointment for me. I actually feel like I wasted time and money. I don't know. It's just okay. So we should continue with the topic, right?
No, but I
I
totally
don't know
agree.
what else to
I
say.
totally agree. I was so hyped for Tinian. I love all of his work, and I'm like, yes, we're getting all these new characters. They're gonna have this amazing role, and then we're gonna see.
It's like
Pouch.
being in a roller coaster. It's like being in a roller coaster that's going up, and when you reach the top, it's just straight. It doesn't even go down super hard. It's just what the hell? We just built up to nothing.
That's the best description I've ever heard of Fear State.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
like-
perfect. Go
Right.
ahead, Kenneth.
Well, no, I'm going to cut you guys off. Tinian had a rough start, but he was really finding his way with it. And then I'll tell you where he fell off, where he killed the designer and turned him into Joker. And we just got another Joker story where he's taking over Gotham. And how many times has Gotham been taken over by criminals,
Right.
Bane or whatever? And
Like
then
weekly.
yeah, every week, right? And then he just lost his way with Fear State and whatnot. That's the best point. He just
I mean,
lost
he had his footing. He had his footing.
He did.
He had like a good idea, and I don't know what the hell happened. The designer was such. He was intriguing. Was a pretty good character, and I don't know. He dropped the ball. That's it.
Same with
feel-
Underbroker. I would like to see him back.
Yeah.
He was a good
Yes.
character too. And those characters you'll never probably hear again. It's like they served their purpose and they were put out the door. And we even had like, not to spoil anybody if you haven't read I Am Batman. I always call it I Am Not Batman. My apologies. But
that's a good title. He's not bad.
well, they even like they fridged Simon Saint.
Yeah.
Like he said, okay, what the fuck? Like you just fridged him. Okay, I don't get it, but that's fine. Let me get the super chat real quick. Robert, thank you so much. Feige Johnson, Ken, yep, I'm not even gonna try. You guys see it on the screen. Godzilla anime trilogy are all great deconstructing genres in the original IPs. They should not be given established IPs. And I do think there is a huge difference. Thank you, Robert, by the way, between like there's certain people that can write established IPs. And I do think putting somebody on there that doesn't know anything or hasn't been a fan is a big disservice to a lot of the characters. And then we see characters like, and I use this example all the time, Jeremy Adams' Flash. He's such a huge fan, and you see it in every page he writes. He writes a fantastic Flash, and he loves it. He loves every step of the way. But as far as the Ghostbusters stuff, I have no idea. I'm sorry. I don't take the time to watch stuff that doesn't interest me.
Have you seen Spider-Man? Have you seen Spider-Man yet?
Oh.
Yes.
Yes, everyone's seen it, right?
I have not.
Nope.
Nope,
But
I
no
thought-
spoilers.
Yeah, I could have like a 3-hour spoiler talk because the movie was really good, but there's still some
spoiler.
things
Oh,
that I
don't worry. My
understand.
coworker spoiled the whole damn thing for me already.
I
He's an
thought
asshole.
Tristan wouldn't see the movie because she hates
It was
fun.
plot hole after plot hole after plot hole. Just gonna say it. A lot of nostalgia bait, a lot of really good stuff in it. I will do a full review of it.
Yeah.
But it was a little crap plot. Sorry guys.
Tristan
it was
hates
crappy.
fun.
I don't hate
Tristan
fun.
hates joy.
It was super
Just
fun. I
fun.
loved a lot of it. But when you turn May into a sex symbol, I find it weird. Just
May
saying.
was a MILF. That was it. He was literally turned to a MILF.
Relax. Hey, Tristan, relax.
Relax.
Yeah.
He said
It's
relax.
supposed to be Aunt May, no great grandmother May.
No, she's supposed to be
Okay.
great grandma May. Unless you're gonna like
No,
hook her
no,
up
no,
with
no.
Otto like they
Aunt
do in
May.
the comic.
Aunt May.
It's
She's
weird
supposed to be
But
that
here's
I
the
find
thing.
her hot.
Aunt May.
The way I look at it, movies are almost like comic book runs. Every run, you have a different iteration. The Stanley Ditko Aunt May is silver-haired, old. The Brian Michael Bendis
Dusty.
Aunt May is middle-aged but still hot. Every run has got your own different character. So that's how I think about the movies. The Sam Raimi, if that's your Aunt May, cool. But I feel this, without spoiling the movie, this Aunt May, they used her in a way that is befitting to the comic books, and she filled a role that Peter needed.
I agree
And this is
there,
the best
100%. And
this
I
is the
only
best-
cried twice.
Right.
Okay.
Wow.
And
that's
Twice
Tristan,
is good for me.
yeah, there are. This movie is not perfect. I will agree with you, but
Oh,
if you're
definitely.
a Spider-Man fan and you want something good from the MCU Spider-Man, this gives fans what they want. So that's all I'll say.
Yeah, and I do think
Hey,
I do think because I grew up with Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, I love it. I love it. I still look back at that with fondness, and it almost is the difference to me of like child Spider-Man, like little boy Peter, and then we have a grown-up Toby. It felt very different. Like tonally, it felt a lot more grown up as far as Toby's Spider-Man goes. And I can get used to it, but it was just like I really think Aunt May is so pretty, and it just fucks with my head so much. Let me get this.
Oh my goodness.
She's
We
so
shouldn't get
pretty,
into
and
the
it's like,
spoilers. We shouldn't get
where's
into
Sally
spoilers.
Ride? May was in her 50s in the original comics. Back then, 50s, yeah, that's true. Modern,
Yeah.
isn't Melissa Tomei only like 57?
57.
And
She's a hot 57.
she is
Yeah.
a beautiful 57. Yes, you're
Works out,
absolutely
takes her
right, Robert.
vitamins.
Thank you.
Beautiful and sexy as ever.
Yeah. Black Phoenix is saying no spoilers. No spoilers.
No
Okay.
spoilers,
Anything-
guys. But yes,
I'm not
Hey,
we'll
spoiling
get
I have
off
to
that
go,
subject. Where
I've
she
just been saying
they
hot
turned her
anyway,
into
that's all I'm
an
saying.
elf. An ant.
Ew.
I liked what? Okay.
Yeah.
Guys,
We keep
I have to go.
Okay, let's get back to the
Yeah.
subject at hand. I don't want to spoil anybody if they haven't seen it yet, and I know it's brand fucking new. Like, just avoid Black Phoenix, avoid social media. Period.
I saw spoilers literally the
Good.
hours after the movie was out.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was like, God damn it.
I know, and they
Well,
put them in
it's
they put
Sony,
'em in
so
the
you know
thumbnail.
Sony's gonna, with the trailers they're leaking, they're gonna spoil it themselves.
mean,
too, so.
There are
True.
definitely things that everyone knows is going to happen in the movie. Yeah. It's not going to be like a huge surprise because of leaks and everything.
Right.
But there are definitely moments that people spoil because they think it's funny. And I was like, God damn it. For the love of God.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
yeah,
why
actually Tuesday on
Spider-Man-
I think it was Tuesday on my morning route. Sorry, Dan, 1 second. I had somebody come in the chat and post all the spoilers on 2 different accounts 2 days before the movie even came out. I'm like, how bored do you have to fucking be? Like, you've got to be really bored to go to people's different live streams and just post spoilers. Like, you want to ruin it for people? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, I
don't do
saw.
that.
I see you
I
did
don't
see
do
it, but
spoilers.
still, I don't want to spoil anybody's good time. I don't. So
Yeah.
what were you saying?
It's
Dan?
definitely
I'm
a good
sorry.
movie. It's definitely a good movie. Even if you don't like Spider-Man, maybe you go watch it because it literally renewed my interest in the MCU. I don't know what the hell Eternals and Black Widow was, but this actually hyped me up for the future.
Yes.
So
You know
we
what it
should
was?
probably
It
kick
was the
Shelby
marketing.
because Black Widow was so good.
I think the opening of
How
Black
dare
Widow was
you?
really good.
Widow
What's
was
that,
awesome.
Shelby,
Ominous?
you know what it was?
Moment. What?
You know what it was, Shelby? It was the marketing. If the marketing goes to the way of we're fighting patriarchy, yes, we're fighting misogyny, we're fighting this and that, all men bad, which was in Birds of Prey was that it was all men bad, no one single man was good. If you
The guy
Yeah,
that made the sandwich was a good guy. He even gave her like a quarter off.
Yeah, I remember that Tristan. You
He-
said something in.
bad at the end.
I'm joking. I'm totally joking.
And
Birds of Prey was
here's
Uh,
my
travesty.
point. Here's my point. Wait, guys, here's where to interrupt.
Yeah.
If you market that way, the audience doesn't want to be preached at.
Exactly.
Don't want moral, moral lessons.
Moral grandstanding.
The public wants to be entertained, wants to forget about real life for a while, charge batteries, and then come back to the real life. Just imagine this about marketing. Let's suppose, I don't know, John Smith, the superstar John Smith, and his movie Barbarians. Let's say that. Let's suppose the marketing is Barbarians fight the misandry. Barbarians fight the matriarchy. And then John Smith comes and says, yeah, with Barbarians, we tell the women, shut up, go back to the kitchen and make me a sandwich. How does that sound to you? Sounds
Like a
kind of
typical day.
ridiculous,
No, I'm totally kidding.
right?
But Tristan, you were talking. Oh, I'm sorry.
What'd you say, Hominus?
Sounds ridiculous, that kind of thing, right?
Well, yeah, but can you blame the company for the marketing? It also comes down to that too. I mean, I know they put out press releases and all that, but sometimes it gets out of
that kind of
control.
marketing, yeah, that kind of marketing sounds ridiculous to me.
Oh yeah,
From both sides, if it's from women or from men, sounds ridiculous. It doesn't appeal to me to go and watch a movie.
yeah.
It's all
What
about
were you
marketing.
gonna say, Kenneth?
If let's say Charlie's Angels Prey didn't came out with that kind of marketing, people will still go and watch it. But they decide to make it all about men bad.
But that also
That's
gets
what happens.
some people in the
Yes.
seats. So you have to take the good with the bad. You do have a subset that like that. So you have to, I'm not saying the majority of people do, but you have to be able to mix it well enough to where it doesn't come off like you're morally grandstanding.
Yes.
You know, actually, I remember because you said, Tristan, in your video about is woke, go broke. I can never remember the thing.
Sorry, I had
woke,
to go.
broke, whatever. Yeah. You have to go.
Yeah, I had to go. I just want to thank you, all of you. Have a great time, Tristan, Kenneth,
Thank
Shelby, Raymond, and thanks to all of
Bye,
you.
Hominus.
I will rewatch the stream later. Thank you to all of you, and have a great night.
Thanks,
Nice
you too.
meeting you,
Thanks,
man.
Hominus.
Yeah.
Bye.
Have a good night,
Nice meeting you, man.
Happy Christmas.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, happy
Thanks.
holidays.
Happy holidays.
Bye-bye.
Tristan, I remember that in your is go woke, go broke a lie video, you said something by the lines of Birds of Prey wasn't affected by go woke, go broke because the writer went on to work on the Flash movie that's coming up. I think that if it wasn't affected, then that's not a win. I think that if a win would mean that we get a Birds of Prey 2, that would be a win. Not a writer who has written for the WB movies before going to work for another movie. That's just kind of what writers do.
That's a very fair point. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I didn't think about that, but yeah. I mean, I don't blame her completely because it wasn't the best movie. It isn't my Harley Quinn. I love Margot Robbie, but I do think she was even handled better in the Suicide Squad. Both of them.
Oh,
both
absolutely.
of them. And that first one was terrible. But yeah, that's a very fair point. You're right. We should have gotten a Birds of Prey 2 or even a Harley Quinn 2, whatever they were going to do with it.
Yeah,
it could happen.
It wasn't
yeah.
good.
I mean, it made money. I did look it up. I wanted to make sure I knew before going into this. It made money, but not very much. It didn't go broke. At least that's what we can say. But it could have done better.
I mean, there are definitely you bring a lot of points up in your video that I actually want to talk about. I don't know if you want to move on onto that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. Bring one up and we'll talk about it as a group.
I feel like I'm judging you. I'm like in the courtroom.
It's okay. I promise.
No, it's like you brought up the idea that that at the end of the day, the products that are deemed go woke, go broke, that fail, still make money. I don't think that, because you say something about sorry, Margot Robbie is a great actress, but us how.
Sorry, I don't know if that distracts you guys. I just like showing people stuff. Go ahead, Shelby.
No, yeah, you said something about Battlefield 5 coming out and it's still selling 7 million copies. And I checked, and yeah, it did sell 7 million copies, but at the same time, the game before that, which was Battlefield 1, and sold 25 million copies. So it didn't outsell.
15.
15. That's still more.
Still half. Right, but the idea of go woke, go broke is actually you have to prove that something's going woke or broke, right? You have to prove that it's losing money.
I mean, if you can outsell your previous product, I think that's failing. Like,
you can't. Sequels rarely outsell the initial product.
I don't think so. Like,
right.
I'm pretty sure that stuff like other stuff like Avengers Endgame outsold Infinity War because
that was Avengers Endgame. We're talking about normal stuff like a normal movie. Avengers Endgame was hyped as fuck. It was built up for 10 years. If you're talking about The Last of Us 1 to
Well,
The Last
Captain
of Us
America
2,
Winter
that's a
Soldier
sequel.
outsold the first Avenger.
That's a good point. That movie was so much better too. So good.
Which one? Which movie was that?
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier outsold the first Captain America movie.
Right.
I barely remember Winter Soldier.
Because it's a better, it was a better movie, much better.
Yeah, much better.
Civil War.
I think generally
Dark Knight.
And,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Damn it! I should have had all the stats up.
Are we gonna have someone else join?
No.
Uh,
Is that? I figured this is enough to have a decent conversation.
no, because I thought that someone left. I know Homulus left.
Homulus left. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's okay. There's still plenty of us to talk.
Yeah, no, it's just I think that if a product is now outselling its previous product, then yeah, I think, but that only applies for something that already has an established product and it's coming out with something new that is deemed go woke, go broke. Like if you have a new IP and it does shit because you market it as the new, I don't know, feminist, pro SJW, whatever buzzwords, and it fails, then maybe that means that the market decided, yeah, no, it's go woke, go broke. It's bad. It didn't. No one wanted to buy it because maybe there's not an audience big enough for it. That's why I think.
Oh yeah.
But it's all about subtlety as well in storytelling. You can have female empowerment movies with strong female characters, and of course, they make money, but don't over preach it. Like we've had Sarah Connor in Terminator, to Ripley in Alien and Aliens. An Aliens sequel, much more successful than the first one. And we can do it. It's all about the story, the storytelling.
Okay. Thank you, Shelby. But yeah, see, I still think the idea of going broke is actually using the definition of broke. And I guess maybe that's where my mistake in that argument was. It still did very well, but no, it did not do as well as the previous. And I would argue we could say the exact same about The Last of Us, right? The Last of Us 2, we don't know as of yet. It sold 4 million initially, and I haven't heard any numbers since. But it didn't sell as well as the second one. But generally, when you're talking about one-on-off movies that maybe get a sequel, generally you're going to, just like with comic books, number one's always going to sell more. You're always going to have a drop in market. Some people decide they don't like it, and move on. Unless you've got really good examples, though. You could use like Saga. Saga didn't catch on until it was in the 20s of issues, and it was going up and selling more than that number one issue. But there's also movies that are not woke, that are far from woke, that don't make any money.
But Tristan, the same thing can be said for Invincible, because Robert Kirkman was writing Invincible. At first, that didn't catch on. Not until The Walking Dead started getting steam, and on that steam, people went and read Invincible, and that started picking up. And I think that was around 20, 30 issues.
Yeah, and I'm so glad it did. It's a fantastic series.
About The Last of Us, I don't think that kind of works for it, because The Last of Us is a video game, and that took 7 years for a sequel, something like that, a long time. So the first time that I heard that it was going to be woke or whatever those rumors were, was like a few months before it came out.
Right.
If it started from years before, then yeah, I think that there will be an argument for, oh, go woke, it's just a lie. But we can't judge how the third installment of a video game, especially one that's big as The Last of Us is going to be, or how it's going to do, until 4 years down the line when it starts to be promoted. That's the thing.
Oh, I was just using that as an example because you were talking about Battlefield video game. I was trying to compare video game to video game, But
at the same time, Battlefield is like a video. It's like one of those yearly first-person
is it?
shooters. It's like Call of Duty. Yeah, it comes out a new one almost
But
every 2 years, something like that.
people were mad that there was a woman in World War II in the front lines. That was it.
Yeah, but that was like in 2018. The newest Battlefield came out this year, like 2 years after.
Well,
Right, but go ahead, Kenneth.
no, I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay, there was a woman in World War II. Is that historically accurate? Because maybe
Uh,
that's
yes.
why people were turned off.
I looked it up beforehand.
Well,
It
hold
was
on,
they
hold on,
had
hold
their
on, hold
own
on. I'm not saying-
unit.
Hold on. I don't want to. I want to. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying women didn't fight in World War II. Please, I don't want to. But like, what unit was she in? Was she featured in like a unit that didn't have a lot of women in there? Was it the? I'm like, what reason was it that people?
I don't know. I don't know enough about the game. I honestly don't. But I do know when I was looking it up at first, there was like 350 women that helped fight with the war. There was women that were generally espionage or nurses or, typical in that today in time, what women would do. But there was a select group of women called something women. They had their own unit. So basically they worked alongside instead of necessarily entrenched with. Now, that also brings up another point. I don't know the Battlefield system. Is that typically historically accurate?
Not really. I mean, the games that are focused on history tend to be historically accurate. Like Battlefield 1 was about World War One, and it was pretty accurate. But I definitely think that the argument that it's not historically accurate is kind of like a hypocrite argument because history is never gonna be 1-to-1. Okay, like
and
the
history is
perfect
always
example.
told by the victors.
Yeah, the perfect example that I have for this is that I don't remember when it came out, but there was an anime based on the of the real history of the first and only black samurai or African American that got to Japan and was a samurai. And in the anime, it's like pretty long. It's like almost like a myth, a legend. It's long. When in reality, like in history books, the guy was probably here for almost about a year, and it wasn't that big of a deal. But
Wait, what's the anime
you have to bend things, huh?
What's the anime called?
Oh, I have zero idea. It was like 2 years ago, maybe. I don't remember a lot of names of things, but I definitely remember that it was an Adult Swim. So
Afro
it
Samurai?
seems to be history. No, it's not Afro. It's not Afro Samurai or Afro. I know that there's two animes, but there was one that was
Yazuki? Someone's saying in the chat.
Yeah, I think that was maybe it. I remember that.
I know Chadwick Boseman was working on that before he died. He was trying to play a character who was like supposedly the first black samurai.
I mean, there's definitely Samurai Champloo and Afro Samurai. Those are basically like kind of black samurai stories, but no, this one was supposed to be like based on the real life history of the first black samurai. But in reality, it's not 1-to-1 to real history. So for us to be like, there can be a woman in World War II, depends on the product that you're trying to sell. Like if you're trying to sell a 1-to-1 recreation of history and you decide to drop in I don't know, a woman that's an amputee that so happens to be a lesbian, that so happens to also be, I don't know, super martial artist, I don't know, that's just trying to pull you away. But if you're gonna be like, this is a setting in history and it just so happens that are like the best humans fighters are here, then yeah, you can sell the product. But at the same time,
history should. I think someone said it in the chat. Stories should dictate over history. Look at stuff like, unless that's what you're selling, and if that's what you're selling, that's great. You do you. But when it comes to storytelling, like look recently, people were so upset about a race bent Agrabota in God of War when that story has never been historically accurate. Never been historically accurate. Like it's okay. This is something that they wanted to do, and she looked beautiful. Same with Heavyset Thor. he looked like a badass. Like that is a awesome looking Thor.
Yeah, like most gods and like strong men back in time, they were fat. I know that because
It's not even
in
that he
history.
was fat. He was a brute.
Yeah,
He
Bruce
looked like he
fat,
could
they're
beat
almost the same.
anyone's fucking ass. Like that's somebody you don't mess with, and I think he looked great as Thor.
Well, people when he first comes in and you see what he is, people were really complaining that they really didn't like, people were fat shaming him, and people really came out against that. You know.
Oh well, good. That's silly that we're fat shaming a character, but even so, I get it. Like, he looks great. I think he looks awesome. I think, when you even like when you talk about the Thor, the old storytelling they used to do, he was always like girthy and stuff. Anyway, so if they want to go in a different direction, maybe they wanted to set it apart
I
from
think
the
that's
other
just
Thors that it'll
more.
get compared to.
That's
I,
maybe
I
because everyone has been like accustomed to having handsome Thor six pack.
Right.
When in reality, not everyone had a six pack back in the old age. I mean, there were definitely people that were fit, but I don't think everyone walked around with a six pack like that.
Hold on, I
don't
want to
have a problem
address
with
this
it.
real
To
quick.
me,
That's a
yeah.
good point. That yes, I that's why I changed my statement. I said it. No, I don't think it needs to be historical. But if that's what they're driving from, and they're trying to maybe take it in a different direction and set it apart from the Chris Hemsworth, so it's his own Thor. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what they're going for. The game's not out yet, so I can't necessarily judge. I can say what I think, but I don't think the design looks bad. Now, are they going to make him like blubbering idiot? Then I would have a problem with it, but I don't see that
I
actually
mean,
happening. So
if
yes,
they
that
want to
is why I
make
changed
him
my
like,
statement. Thank you, Derek.
if they want to make him like more accurate, then this Thor would be fat. He would be an asshole to everyone. He kind of would be misogynistic because Thor in the mythology, he's kind of an asshole. That's the thing. So I don't know. It's just that's what I think about how did we get to this?
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
video
Because
games.
that's because I don't know. I think a lot of it is because we are so politically divided. The country is more divided than I've ever seen it, and I think it's a really shame because somebody like me, I got called a fence. That's fine, but I don't have an issue when it comes to, like we talked about race swapping earlier, unless if there's some drawn reason for it. Yeah, I'm against it. If it's, you know, somebody from Wakanda, it doesn't make sense to race swap them. If it's somebody that's English, it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Like there can be situations where that is a
I
no,
mean,
whether it is white or black. I don't.
I definitely I answered this to you and your in one of your videos. I remember I said that I think that you have an idea that I tend to be more right when in reality I'm in the center. I don't think there's anything wrong with race bending, but I definitely think that there is something wrong where when the argument is, oh, you can race bend, it's okay because they are white, because there are
No,
a lot of
yes,
white
and
characters.
I agree
That's
with
when
you
I think,
there.
yeah, that's not okay, especially for any race. Like your argument shouldn't be, oh, it's fine because this race is this and that race is that. It should be like, no, I want, I don't know, let's say this character to have more ties to the race. Okay, you can do that, fine, but don't say it's because there's more white people. That's kind of, I don't know,
I
asshole.
mean, hold on. Hold that thought, ominous. And let me get this super chat. There are now scraping from the bottom of the barrel reasons to declare things woke. Two broad stroke things more and more, so it's easier to get outraged. And I agree, everything is woke nowadays. I think Hawkeye is. I'm pretty sure. You know what? Just name if
Arcane
a
is awesome.
property has anybody that is not, that is a woman or a person of color, it's going to be called woke. Just plan on it. That way you don't get disappointed. Um, but when it comes to what did I tell you to hold on to, Shelby? I totally forgot.
I think it was waste
Oh,
swap.
the white thing. Okay, the white thing. Raymond, since you are being so quiet, do you have an issue when it comes to if they want more representation and it's not tied to their ethnicity? Do you have an issue with race swapping any characters?
No, they're not real characters. They're not real people. you can't really be racist towards anyone who isn't real. And it's only ever going to bother you as much as you allow it to anyway.
Right. It's
So
fiction.
no, it doesn't bother me at all.
You got a point.
My thing is there are certain characters, like, you would never dream to race swap. Oh my God, not Charles Xavier.
Black Panther,
No,
T'Challa, Storm.
no.
That has been a discussion, but Tristan, there has been a discussion because with what to do with X-Men, what are we going to do with Magneto, specifically Magneto?
Magneto, thank you, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
I knew she was
Magneto-
trying to say that one, but
Well, hold on. Yeah, his origin is one of the best comic book origins ever, next to Batman or Spider-Man.
Yes.
But now, today, he would be what, 90 something years old. So you have to give him a different origin. And
No,
there
you
have
don't.
been talk. Okay, well, we don't have to, but just for sake of discussion.
Sorry.
That's fine. Just for the sake of discussion. I'm not saying it, but there have been discussions of what's a better updated origin to give Magneto. There have been suggestions maybe he comes from Africa and the Rwanda crisis that happened in the early aughts. And that way, that also mirrors what happened in the Holocaust, because that's a Holocaust.
Yeah.
With Africans dying, and you make him. But then, if you stop at Magneto, you would have to change the race of Xavier, because not only were they mutants, but they're African Americans. I mean, those characters were based off of Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and their struggle with back in the 60s.
I mean, they weren't, though. They weren't until Chris Claremont's run.
Oh, I've heard Stan Lee. That's the basis of how he created them. But
someone correct me if I'm in the chat if I'm wrong, but I don't think that was adapted until Chris Claremont's run. But no, I don't think. I mean, I think there's a way to introduce new mutants, not like the New Mutants. I mean, like a new mutant. If that's the case, and I think that would be a great way, a great new character. But I think erasing what he is a shame, because his, like you said it yourself, he's got one of the best origins. Right. Why would you want to erase that from everything he is? Okay, so yeah, I was right.
Can you have a 95-year-old Magneto in today's time? It's different from the 90s where you had the Jim Lee, Chris Claremont, when Magneto was 50, where he was older but still had some youth and vigor and violence.
Are you talking about specifically in movies?
No, I'm talking about the character. Well, in movies, yeah.
The MCU. MCU. That's
that is a tricky question. Raymond, what do you think?
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. Like, if you bring the X-Men into the MCU and do that origin, I mean, do you not want to? Do you want him to remain the way he is in the MCU, Tristan?
Why couldn't you just do some line like you did with Chris Evans' character, and something happened when he was transformed and it made him not age? One line and you're good.
Yeah, it could be like part of his mutant power, or maybe you could just make up an entirely new Holocaust.
Or you know what? You can just say that his family before him were Holocaust survivors, and that affected his entire family. Something like that
also works too.
I'll go with that.
Also, I don't think.
Then what about Charles Xavier? Then what about Charles Xavier? Is it the same thing, or would he be the same age? Because those characters are around the same age group. I mean, they've been friends.
I don't think the MCU really cares for that kind of thing, because like there are a lot of situations where characters should be older than they look actually. Like Peter Parker, he was like 10 years old, and he went from being a little kid to 20 something in like a few movies. Like the whole timeline doesn't really matter, especially if you want to bring in these characters that are
Yelena Belova is supposed to be 30 years old in at the end of the Black Widow movie, and Florence Pugh is like in her early 20s.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter.
And I think they could also add something in that the X gene prevents some sort of aging or slows it down.
I think that the easiest form. No, sorry, you go.
I'm sorry to cut you, but that's also Logan's thing, because his healing factor helps him age slower. So you're saying all mutants should age slower? How would that distinct that from Logan?
Because he still has healing. I don't know. That is a tricky
I
question.
think,
I think
look,
there's a
I
way
think
to do it.
the way
Go
to
ahead.
bring Magneto into the MCU and still have him tied to his Jewish origin would be that his family were survivors and they escaped, and that was passed down to him, like that kind of mentality of we have to kill them before they kill us. That is an easy way of saying it. That's like you learn from your parents, your family can influence how you think. If his family of Magneto is like, yeah, we survived this, everyone, all of them are against you because you are different. Okay, then have him be some 70-year-old guy because Magneto is old in the comics. He's kind of that grayish silver fox. So that
Okay.
just have him be from a family that survived the Holocaust. You don't have to have him be in it. And I think it's more powerful when you have someone growing up with a belief based on an experience instead of having someone growing up with an experience. That's what I think
Cool.
would be.
That could work.
Yeah, that's
I
like
get
an
it.
easy way.
Let me get this
They
super
could
chat. I have an
also
idea.
like,
Go ahead, Dan.
yeah, I was just thinking they could also like just have it so instead of the Holocaust, they could change it so that they like his backstory actually has to do with him being a mutant instead. Like they captured Magneto and his family because they were mutants, and that would be kind of like a way to get around the Holocaust thing.
I mean,
That-
we could.
That last super chat, Tristan,
I'm gonna get to it. I just see that
Yeah.
chat. That cracked me up. Go ahead.
But no, what that super chat, that is a pretty interesting idea too, because that's a storyline where
Hispanic
he was
Magneto.
turned into a baby, and yeah, that's from the comics.
I want to have a
Is that from
Hispanic
the
Magneto.
Ultimate
That's what I want.
storyline?
No, that's from Mutant Genesis, my favorite
Oh, okay.
X-Men. Yeah, Claremont
You know-
Genesis, where he was. Yeah,
You know, something that gets brought up a lot is that mutants are basically an allegory for race, and this is a point that just some guy brought up when you talked to him, is that mutants aren't specifically an allegory for race. They're an allegory for different, like anything,
Right.
even like gay being gender being gay
Trans.
doesn't really have to be, yeah, it doesn't really have to be about race. It can also just be about
Yeah.
the division in general, being afraid of the other, being afraid of the unknown. Doesn't really have to be about race, but I do get why, because it was kind of built up in that kind of environment where that was the main topic.
great point.
I think
great point.
it's. I think it works well for race, but I also think it works really well for anybody feeling like an outsider.
Yeah,
Because you feel like
Yeah.
and I know Vita Ayala did a recent one where it was more of an allegory for trans. I didn't read it personally myself, so I can't speak to it. I just know that it happened. I do know that there are people that look at it and feel like they've always been otherized, and it speaks to them. I loved the X-Men when I was younger simply because I was shy and quiet
Riot?
and
No, you're
kept
shy.
to myself. I looked at them as something that was really cool because it was a group of them and they worked together, and there was a lot of really good empowering moments when you felt like that outsider, but you could be empowered at the same time. So I think it works for race, but I also think it works for every kind of group that may be marginalized, or every time you may feel
I
like an
agree.
other.
I 100% agree, and I never thought it just applied to race. That's exactly what you just said, Tristan. It applies to everyone who's been persecuted for any sort of unreasonable, reason for just who you
Someone's
are.
baby's crying.
I know that child is very unhappy.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was my neighbor.
Yeah.
Have any of you seen that movie Munich by Steven Spielberg?
No.
Which movie was this? Sorry.
No.
Munich.
It's
No.
about the athletes in the 60s who were killed over a terrorist attack, and the Israeli government sent like soldiers and assassins on a secret mission to hunt them down and kill them. It's a movie about revenge. I think it's one of Spielberg's best. And I'm just thinking maybe Magneto can have something to do with that, to where him or his family was a victim of the Munich attacks. That's
Sorry,
in the
I left my
70s.
window open and it's the neighbor.
Oh no! I thought someone's baby was mad. Okay, I've never heard of it, but that would be an interesting way
Yeah.
to do it. Also,
Yeah, that actually sounds really cool.
It happened in the 70s, and if Magneto was born around that time, he would probably be in his 50s. So he wouldn't be too old. Still be older, but a little younger enough. You could do that. Yeah.
what do you think about the new X-Men coming? The X-Men 97, Kenneth. Are you excited or nervous?
I don't.
I'm sort of a mix of both.
I don't know. I mean, I love that cartoon, but is it actually you? In fact, I'm glad you brought that up, Tristan, because you said how the X-Men cartoon. I don't want to misquote you, but I think you said it was always woke or
Oh
something.
hell yeah, it was.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
No, it was
X-Men in
political.
general always been.
It was
It was
political,
woke, but it never
wasn't
pandered.
it wasn't overtly political. It evoked things. Like
Mm.
say Days of Future Past storyline, that evoked the Holocaust, but didn't specifically talk about it. But that when you see the graves of all the X-Men and everything, that evoked it. Or another example, Friends of Humanity. That's an extremist group, but they're not the
Right.
leader. He's not calling himself David Duke or Bill O'Reilly. He's great in Creed. He evokes those figures, but he's not overtly political. So if the cartoon can get to where it's evoking those things, but telling interesting stories like that, I'll be on board for it.
Well, here's the thing. Isn't that by the standards we see all over social media woke? Anything with basically any sort of representation and any sort of political messaging. How many times have you heard the line, keep your politics out of my comics? Like from people that mean it without realizing how political their comics have been, including
I think
X-Men.
right. But I think it's different where you're specifically making this political statement just to make this political statement. Like I don't know, like when you have characters say only use pronouns when you're talking to me. And
You know. Sorry. No. Yeah, you can go, Kenneth.
No. But no, like say that or something. But it's a way you have to be subtle about it. Like X-Men, how we say, how X-Men represents people being persecuted, but do that in the story. But like, don't mention anything about I don't know was it Jordan Peterson or something. Like, don't name drop people or saying you're going to do this or that. Like, no, just give me superhero stories. Or if you're going to have politics, make it to where it's even handed. Or if you're going to do something about defunding the police, mention that, but do both sides of it. Make it an interesting story. Don't just name drop politics just to do that to virtue signal. Or this is my thing. That give me good superhero stories. Make it about good guys and bad guys. Make it interesting, but don't make it political for political sake.
Yeah, James Gunn did something similar in the Suicide Squad with the whole Starro backstory, the new one he gave him.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. What was it?
The whole stuff with like the American government, how they captured Starro and kept it a secret.
Oh, like how like with the Tuskies experiments and stuff like that?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, when
and most people said that the Suicide Squad wasn't woke, so just imagine that.
You know, Tristan, I think that when you say that people say, "Oh, keep your politics out of my comics" or "keep your politics out of my movies" or whatever, what they mean is, I know, I bet that they say that because it's the easiest way of saying that, but I can kind of tell that what they mean is more like when stop pandering to this side when you're selling a product with a name that I already like. Something like that. And I know that saying, "Oh, it's woke," yeah, it's annoying because the meaning and the word are not the same. But it's just basically it's basically the shortest way of saying, hey, you're pandering to this side, and by proxy, you're just shitting on me. That's it.
The problem is it's a nonsensical word, just like Nazi at this point. I could agree to a lot of these things, except for every single video that comes out from the Quartering or Yellow Flash or Geeks and Gamers. Everything is woke. If everything is woke, then literally nothing is. You have to have it one. You can't live in absolutes because that's not how the real world works. Kate Bishop, it's
I
woke.
wouldn't say that
007, it's woke. Like He-Man, it's woke, except for it's not at all. None of these I have mentioned are at all. Yet they're always
but do
considered
they
that because
pander?
it's really,
Yeah, but
really no, none of them do. None of those
Are you
properties I
sure?
mentioned pander. Which one? I like honestly, I
So
don't know
when
of any
so when
ones
the
that do
quarter
pander.
look, I don't really see I don't really watch Yellow Flash or Geeks and Gamers because you said it. You don't like it, you shouldn't watch it. Yeah, I don't.
Exactly.
But like the only person that I watch sometimes is the Quartering because I do think he's kind of funny with some of his takes. But when he
Right.
makes a video on something being woke, and we can understand, yeah, he doesn't mean it being just political. It means being pandering to something, and I can go and watch. Like he made videos on Batwoman. Can you 100% say that it didn't pander?
Oh no, it did pander. I didn't. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So
And it was very poorly written. Like
like
most CW shows are, but that one was a whole nother level.
saying something is woke, saying something that something is woke. The only way that I can say it would be like comparing it to saying, "Hey, my computer broke." Yeah, we know it basically means that something's wrong. Okay, you want to go into details? Oh yeah, the CPU doesn't work, the main chip it fried, the screen doesn't work, something like that. But the easiest way of saying it's my
It's
computer
lazy.
broke.
It's
It's
lazy
just
is
a way
what
of
it is.
saying
You're
it.
not giving me good reasons why I shouldn't write this. You're telling
I
me
mean,
when your
I couldn't.
entire intro is all of the badass stuff she's done. It is a lazy way, just like saying SJW. And it wasn't always that
What,
way. I'm not
Kate
saying it
Bishop?
was always that way. I'm saying like the last maybe 2 years. It actually meant something at one time, just like Nazi actually meant something. But it has become a catch-all term for women and POC and anything liberal because I'm a conservative. That's what it's become. But it's okay on the other side. Like it's like leave our don't these celebrities shouldn't talk about politics unless you're Gina Carano. Then come on, what do you have to say? Do not comply. Okay, I'll listen to you. Like come on, you've
I mean,
got to see the irony in it.
I think there's a reason that people can defend Gina Carano because she actually got uh, pushed down when she opposed some kind of idea. But
And
you
I
don't really
defended
see
her
that
too. I don't
when.
think she should have lost her job. I don't think Dave
Yeah, so I
Chappelle
don't
should.
really think.
I also
I don't think
see
it's
the same
hypocrisy.
exact tactics on that side. They're like, we don't believe in cancel culture unless you talk about white men, and then we're going to go through 10 years of your Twitter timeline. Or you believe in BLM. They did the exact same thing when X-Men came out. They're like, oh, these guys are BLM. So you said you didn't care about politics as long as it wasn't in the entertainment industry, as long as it wasn't in your things. It is two sides of the same coin. It absolutely is. And it's really sad to see. I don't think it was always that way.
Okay.
Let me.
Everyone's like, oh my God.
Okay. No, but
No,
let me.
Kenneth wanted to say something.
Oh, go ahead. No.
No, Kenneth wanted to say something. Yeah.
Okay. Let me reiterate and just to make myself clear, I'm all about the story. If you want to put, I mean, I'm not too much into politics unless it enhances the story, unless it enhances the story, the narrative, the character's journey. But if you're doing it for the sake of anything, then I'm not for it. For example, like when Barack Obama got elected. Of course, I love Obama, everything, but then I see his face on a Spider-Man comic book, if he has no reason, if he's not aiding Spider-Man to save the day or save the bad guys, why do I need Barack Obama's face on a Spider-Man comic book for?
Did you say the same thing about Reagan when you read Captain America?
I wasn't reading Captain America back then.
Okay.
But I wouldn't care either way. No, I wouldn't care
I
either
don't
way.
have an issue with it if it's okay, we met. You know, it's really cool. Peter Parker, he met Spider-Man and he met the president and he talks about it. If they're doing it too obvious, I don't know that story. I don't.
I think that mostly just dates the comic.
Exactly.
Yeah, it really does. That's a good way to put it,
you
Shelby.
You shouldn't use real political figures in your stories because it dates it. You know, X-Men didn't do it. In fact, X-Men had President Kelly. They didn't have Bill Clinton in its comic books. You know, that's why they created President Kelly in it to pass.
Look,
you're going to need the registration or something.
It's like people putting Trump into things like,
right.
This is really gonna date it. Like, no one's gonna remember what the hell who Trump was in like 20 years when there's a worse president.
Yeah. I would hope they're still teaching history in 20 years.
Well, yeah.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you mean. I think it's good to use a better allegory, and they're doing that right now in Devil's Reign, right? With Fisk. He's kind of like a Trump allegory.
Yeah, Fisk is basically the Trump guy. He's the businessman. So
but here's the thing about and I'm glad you guys brought that up, because Fisk's motivation for what he's doing is not about politics. It's not political. It's because, and see, you've had to read Daredevil comics to understand what he's doing. And what I'm saying, it's all about the storytelling. He's doing it because he keeps files on people to blackmail them and use them to his advantage. He has a file on Matt Murdock, but it is clean. And if you've been reading Daredevil comic books for the last couple of years, you'll understand why. And that's why he's doing now. Now people are saying he's like Trump. They may be bringing their own stuff into it, but that has nothing to do with politics. Everything that he's doing is doing to advance his own objective, his own agenda.
I haven't read the other stuff, so that you're educating me on that subject. I don't necessarily know, and I know I need to go back and read Chip Zdarsky's run. I've not heard anything but great stuff about it. But from picking up number 1, I'm like, oh, what do we got here? Like, just kind of makes me giggle, and not in a bad way. But what would you guys say about stuff like keeping it in the comic spectrum, Superman and the Authority, with new characters like OMAC and fighting I kind of love it, body shaming trolls.
It's great you bring that up too. Do you know the story behind the Authority of Grant Morrison?
Yes.
And
with right wing,
right? Dan Didio wanted him to be a right wing, and Grant Morrison said, "No, we're not doing that," because I know this. He knows the character. The character would not do that, and that's my point. Whatever political thing whatever you do, let it serve the story. Let it serve the characters. If you can make it interesting for the story, that's good. And Grant Morrison, knowing his knowledge, he knows Superman would never do that, and that's not gonna. I'm not using that for my story. What Superman is doing, stays true to the character of Superman, and it's a better thing for the story. That's
changing Superman's like whole ideals is like making him basically a different character.
Exactly.
And sometimes it could work, but when you say like something like, oh, I'm gonna make outright Superman, we already have Homelander, so we know how that would go. Okay.
Or Injustice.
Yeah, we know how that would go. It's not a new ground.
We've been trying to change Superman for 20, 30 years. We've become in love with Superman being evil and want to take over the world. I mean, now there was where Superman's in Russia, the
Red Sun.
Thank you. That was a very good take on it, and it's like he was still Superman, but only for Russia. In a way, he was still who he was.
He still cared for people,
right?
He still it's like having
Exactly.
Spider-Man be evil for some reason and be outright for some reason. It doesn't work just because you say it is.
Exactly.
The character works because he has his sets of ideals that make the character who he is. If you just make him act another way, then everyone's gonna be like, "What the fuck is this?" It doesn't work.
Like Superman in jeans. Like
Or
when that
Superman
was
in
relaunched. I just
Ah.
was like, what is this? Okay, all right. And you know what? I would actually add
This
to that, Red
question
Sun,
actually
and
reminds me of
say,
something I saw on Twitter.
what's that?
You know, for
Yeah,
Huh?
this discussion actually reminds me of like something I saw on Twitter once. I'm not if I for one believe it, but essentially this random person said that racing, like kind of going back to that topic, race swapping gets in the way of introducing previously established diverse characters. Do you guys believe that?
It
That's
can
actually
be.
a good.
It can possibly.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
It does
Okay.
to a point.
Look, y'all go
you know,
ahead.
that's
I was gonna
why
say something, but I'll wait.
Seen Bumblebee yet in any, like, outside of Young Justice. Have yet to see an on-screen version of Bumblebee in live action.
you know, like that's one of the questions that I have is like, what's better, to race swap or to actually just create a new character and let the market decide?
I'm for the former or latter. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I would rather have, if race swapping, if you can make it again, I'll go back to compelling character and story. If that works, fine. But honestly, I would prefer creating a brand new character, a brand new character that's black, have his own motivations, his own story, his own villains, his own journey. That's what I'm for. And
Mhm.
Yeah,
Tristan,
I
I've told
agree.
you this. One of my favorite creators, Danny O'Neill. He created
Oh.
John Stewart Green Lantern.
Yep.
And he wasn't just a Green Lantern, he was his own character. He wasn't a copycat of Hal Jordan. He's way different from Hal Jordan. His
Oh, yeah.
favorite construct is a freaking sniper rifle taking guys out. That's who John Stewart is. And his story is so compelling and so great, both as a black character and as a great superhero. That's what we want. Give me John
And I
Stewart.
think, oh, I heard a baby again. I do think you're right in a way, Dan, because we could have had a lot of Vixen is a phenomenal character with awesome power set, and we've yet to see Vixen. We also have a little bit to what you were saying, Kenneth. There is an issue with that because a lot of people do not accept new characters. Comic book fans are very set in their ways to characters like Naomi not really being accepted. Joe Mullion, she is doing phenomenal in Jeffrey Thorne's Green Lantern. And yet people are still like, oh, she's a race swap. It's all this, it's all that. No, she's great. Teen Lantern, I'm not there yet. But the other ones, they're very hard to catch on nowadays. And I do think it is a little bit of a lazier way to do it, and that's give Onyx a show. That's right. I'm so glad Onyx is coming back. Great characters like that get pushed to the side. So how do you solve something like that? It's very, very tricky.
Yeah.
You know, I think if James Gunn hadn't like actually taken the opportunity to introduce Bloodsport, I don't think we would have ever seen him on screen.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
And now people want Black Superman. What about Icon? Huh? What about
Hell
Blue
yes.
Marvel?
Yes.
In Marvel, Blue Marvel. Blue Marvel is literally Reed Richards and Superman. Like, he's super intelligent and he has the powers of Superman. If y'all don't know who Blue Marvel is from Marvel.
I actually don't. That I
Neither
just
do
lost
I.
some nerd
Oh, wait,
cred.
yeah. Well,
I've heard this, but I don't actually know who the character is.
but we have, like someone else, their point, we have diverse characters in both DC and Marvel that none of them are using. But now they're just, and you talk about pandering, what they're doing is pandering to people crying out for more diversity. And people want that, but they're doing it in the wrong way. You're taking established white and someone made a point about Electro
No,
or
get off.
whatever. It depends on the character that you're doing it with. Like Superman or Batman or something, taking these characters, making black counterparts, it seems hollow, really. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hollow. It's like
Although with
I get
Electro,
it.
I think the reason no one really had a problem with that actually has a lot to do with Jamie Foxx's star power. I mean, he's
Agreed.
an
I
incredibly
agree.
famous actor, an Oscar winner.
Yes,
That's
yes,
probably why no one
yes.
really had a problem with it.
Like actually this kind of ties back to creating new characters and stuff like that. But Tristan said something about when has something gone woke and gone actually broke. An example would be New Warriors. What the hell happened to that? That went so woke that it basically got
That one just
woked out of
died on.
existence.
That was just DOA. Everyone,
Yeah, so
like very rarely does the internet come together and either hate or love something. And the internet came together and they were like, "Fuck you,
so does
get that shit out
does
of here.
that
I'm not
count?
buying it."
Does that count as go woke, get broke
Yeah, I
when
think
it
that
didn't
would
even
qualify.
come out? That's
But-
like a pure example of it. It got so woke that it basically just deleted itself.
I don't think there's much more examples though. That's the thing. And I think that it's because the word has become so diluted that it actually has become almost, besides the actual or word in the dictionary, it's lost a lot of its meaning. Let me get the super chat real quick. In fantasy I die. Thank you so much. Reed Richards is Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four.
We knew that.
Did somebody question that? I'm sorry. Did I miss part of the conversation?
I think that means.
Wait a
that
minute.
those
Wait
are
a minute. I
people-
think no. They misunderstood me. When I was talking about Blue Marvel, I said he was literally Mr. Fantastic and Superman. No, I wasn't saying Blue Marvel was Mr. Fantastic. I'm saying he has the intelligence. Yeah, I know Reed Richards is Mr. Fantastic. So that was just a comparison. So yeah, I wasn't. I know I'm a Marvel guy. I love Batman, but I am a Marvel guy. Hence, right here. But yeah, I know.
That makes more sense. I was a little confused for a minute.
I think that's what
Yes, you're just stating the fact.
But yeah, like I was saying, I don't think there's actually been a case of it. But okay, so Terminator Dark Fate, I know that one lost a little bit of money too. Solo lost money. There's like maybe 5 really good examples. But if you say it over and over, something loses meaning. Right? You can't claim everything is racist, because then you can't say, what was it recently? Math is racist. Like, come on. We can't be at this stage. Same with woke. You can't be at that stage where it's like, Kate Bishop is what? Okay, all right. Let me get this real quick. People are calling Miles. Oh my God. People are calling Miles a blackwash Peter Parker, despite not being an alternate Peter. But they accept Calvin Ellis, who's blackwash Clark Kent, and it doesn't make. They're introducing the multiverse. I think it's pretty amazing that Miles has gotten such a strong footholding in 10 years. So I hate when people are like, well, that's not my Spider-Man. And I get it. Fine. You probably grew up with Peter, but then say the same thing about Ben O'Reilly. Please say the same thing. Be consistent, or you're showing your hand.
Yeah.
Tristan, if you saw me, I said Spider-Man is my number 2, and when I mean Spider-Man, I mean Peter Parker. I've never been a fan of the Spider-Verse. I think it's just, I don't like where all these different Spider characters in it. Just, I'm about one Peter Parker. But just to address what he's saying with Miles Morales, I think if people are saying this, because in the comics at least, in regards to name only, his personality was a little too similar to Peter Parker. He liked science,
especially
like
in
Peter.
The beginning.
Yeah.
The movie did a lot to change that.
Yeah, I agree. It gave Miles Morales a personality, his connection to Brooklyn, to hip hop. So he was different in Peter Parker in that retrospect, but he had that same earnest heart. Now, I'd rather Miles Morales have his own villains, have a lot more of his personality. Like Miles Morales, I don't want him fighting Green Goblin or Rhino. Have him have his own villains, his own version of power and responsibility.
But does he have like his own villains, or does he just have different versions of Peter's villains?
In the comics,
Because
he's fighting Peter Parker's villains.
Yeah.
yeah, that's the thing. He just fighting the ultimate version of the Green Goblin and Doc Ock, stuff like that, because that's his universe.
No, no,
I don't
no,
really
no.
know.
He's not in the Ultimate Universe anymore. He's in the 616 universe.
Yeah, but I mean, like in the beginning, because he comes from the ultimate.
Right, but the Ultimate Universe is destroyed. Maybe back then, but the Ultimate Universe is destroyed because of the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars thing. He's in our
Yeah.
main universe. He's hanging out with Peter Parker, and he fights our main Peter Parker's villains in that universe. So that's why people are saying that. But
like yours. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Look, I told someone this before. I want one of two things from Miles Morales. Either he goes back to his own universe where he can be his own true Spider-Man, and forgive me if some people don't like this, maybe change his name, change his style, let him have his own Spider identity. So
I
mean,
but just like you were saying with Spider-Man, you want Miles to have his own villains. I want the same thing for the Bat family too. I want the same for Catwoman. I want the same for those characters too. So, if you look at something like that, I think the best way to solve it is keep him in the Ultimates universe, because then he can have the name and there's no issue, right?
exactly.
There's really not an issue.
Yeah.
You don't have another okay, never mind. Bad example. I was gonna say you don't have another Batman running around with the same name Batman, but
Now,
we recently have.
If you're in Batman,
That's what they're doing with Spider-Gwen.
I mean, look, that's just kind of how it works when you have the kind of billing gallery around a certain character. Like even in the Gotham Knights, it's not gonna have Batman, but they're probably gonna still battle out with Batman's growth of galleries.
Right.
Batman or Dark Knights is so good.
Just
fucking
I don't
love
know
that
why,
book.
but I'm kind of mad that I'm kind of mad that the game is not gonna have, like, it's not tied to the Asylum universe, which already exists. Might as well, but no.
Oh, did you hear they're making a show of it too?
Which one?
Gotham Knights.
Wait, they are?
Yeah,
I
Gotham
heard
Knights
about it,
on
but
the
it sounds
CW.
awful.
Why?
If it's gonna have like Red Hood
It has a completely
from
different
Titans,
premise.
then if it's gonna be CW, does that mean it's still gonna be tied to the already existing universe?
I in the nicest way possible, that dude called Jon Stewart a tokenized character. I can't take anything he says seriously.
Cool.
But yeah, I don't know. It's CW, so I'm kind of iffy on it, anyways. And I don't. If you're gonna have Gotham Knights, you've got to have actually the Gotham Knights.
The CW are Stargirl and Superman and Lois. That's it. Everything else is trash now.
Stargirl's
I still haven't catched up to Stargirl.
Although I'm super behind on Stargirl.
Season 2.
Who is producing?
I'm also super behind to the
Is that HBO?
finale of the second season.
On which one, Kenneth?
Who is producing Superman and Lois? Because
it's CW.
The production on that show is like nothing that I've seen on any of the CW shows. I mean, it's better. It's like top tier. It's almost like it's on an HBO show,
right?
So
you know what? It kind of feels like CW is kind of lazy with some stuff, and when it wants to make a good show, they actually put like everything into it. Like Swamp Thing, I don't remember if Swamp Thing was part of the CW, but
no, but that show was good.
All of those like HBO, DC shows, some tend to be bad because they have really bad production, bad writing.
Notice how nobody complained that they race swap Madame Xanadu because it worked really well in the story, like phenomenal in the story. It made sense. and nobody cared. And I think that's kind of what it all comes down to. Is it's not really an
Nobody
issue of
cared
get
about
woke,
Crazy
go
Jane
broke.
either.
It's more of an issue of writing.
You know what happened
Yeah.
the other day? Anyone saw New Mutants?
Yes.
I don't.
No.
You saw it.
Yes, actually I
So-
did. I loved it.
Yeah, it was fine, but I was watching it at home, and my sister literally tells me, "Hey, I'm pretty sure the main character and the wolf girl, I'm pretty sure they're a thing. They're kind of gay." And I was like,
Well, they were kind of
"Oh
gay in
yeah,
the comics too.
yeah." And no one, I never saw like videos of, "Oh my god, New Mutants is woke and it's going broke." No, it happened. No one saw the movie. There was not a bunch of buzz around it, but it did have LGBT characters. Then why wasn't there an uproar about that? Because
I think a
it
lot
was
of that
just
had
there.
to do with it was delayed, and then it was delayed, and then it was delayed. Like it got delayed like 4 times.
Yeah,
It
but the
was
same thing
really
for Deadpool 2. Like Supersonic Boom, whatever her name was.
Supersonic Teenage Warhead.
Yeah, she has a girlfriend. No one really cared. It was literally there, just there. There
Well,
weren't even like jokes about it or
Isn't
any
isn't
points
have
made.
Deadpool
a question about
Pan
Doom
himself?
Yeah, but Deadpool, they always in the movies at least they show him with what was her name?
The hot girl
Uh,
from Gotham?
Vanessa. Vanessa.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure her name is
Copycat.
Vanessa. And even when in the second movie I think they make a joke about Deadpool sleeping with Colossus. He's like, what? So I don't think that's established in the movies. In the comics, I know that it is a thing.
I haven't seen them. I've only seen the one, so I don't know. I'm really bad about watching movies. I am.
I'm really bad about
Deadpool
watching shows.
isn't a thing in the comics. However, Deadpool is pansexual in the comics, so
Yeah, that's
Deadpool
what I thought.
Deadpool is kind of out of his mind. He's whatever. Because remember, there was the Deadpool Spider-Man thing. They make it to where he has a thing for Spider-Man. He's just whatever.
Deadpool's just horny. Let's be real.
We
Yeah.
can't define Deadpool.
But no,
You know,
seriously,
this
funny.
because his powers, he also has like something mental with him, right? He breaks the fourth wall, and people think because he's crazy. So
I don't know. I like him. He gets
Doesn't
annoying
She-Hulk
sometimes
also
when
break
they
the fourth wall?
overpush
what
him.
about Doom Patrol? I don't hear anyone complaining that they made Larry Traynor gay or that they race swapped Crazy Jane. Well, technically
You
not
know
race
what?
swapped
Pretty
since
good.
Yeah, that show's pretty
Larry
good.
Trainor's updated origin was better than the original. Fight me. It is so good.
absolutely agree.
And
And
you know what? I
honestly,
do
I
remember a
don't
little ruckus behind it, like a little people were upset. But
It went away pretty fast because the show
yeah,
was
and
good.
I
didn't
think
hear
it's such
any
an
of it.
unknown IP that it was one of those like we were talking about earlier with like Saga or Invincible, where it started out and people were like, "What the fuck is Doom Patrol?" And then they were like, "You have to watch Doom Patrol." Like it was one of those that caught on after time. Nobody knew the IP, so nobody really cared. And a lot of times when it comes to, I think, at least personally, I could be wrong, but when it comes to that type of hate bait type stuff, it also has a lot to do with well-known, established stuff. So they can say Hawkeye is this or that, and they're not going to sit there and say Larry Traynor. Nobody's going to click on the video. They're going to prioritize Marvel big names being, I remember not that long ago it was Captain Marvel is going to come out gay. Bitch, where?
Did
Like,
she?
come on.
Yeah.
Did she ever?
Though the same
No.
Was
kind
she
of
ever
applies
established
to
as gay or
Diane
bi?
Guerrero as Crazy Jane. No one really had, like she said so herself. Like she was expecting a lot of backlash since technically her character is an ethnicity swap in the show, but
Right.
turns out she didn't get any backlash, and she was really grateful for that.
And
Tristan,
she's phenomenal.
but Tristan,
Go
when, in
Yeah,
the
I can't
comments,
imagine anyone else playing that role.
Yep.
right? But Tristan, in the comments, someone mentioned Stormfront and the boys and whatnot. That is an example of gender swapping that worked. I don't know if you guys
Worked
watched the boys.
well.
Yeah,
I love the boys. I love,
It
love. Remember when everyone was like, "Oh my God, they're going against the white nationalists"? Look how good it turned out. They went in such a radical direction. She was evil. We knew she was evil.
exactly,
I
exactly,
am so. This next one's
exactly,
about toxic masculinity, and people are already upset about it. Like, the boys is gonna do it phenomenal. The boys has
exactly.
earned their cred, and it like I've said this 100 times. It improved upon the comics, improved
Exactly.
greatly upon it.
Exactly.
Even the
Yeah,
like Me
Umbrella
Too
Academy
stuff.
did the same thing. So did Young Justice.
Exactly. They even did like the
You
brought in the Me Too stuff, and nobody cared.
But Tristan's like what you're
uh
saying. It's all about the writing and the
Yes.
execution and the story.
And that
If you
proves
can
my
make
point
it,
about this get woke, go broke. It's bullshit. It's bad writing. It's not all bullshit. We mentioned a couple that were kind of ridiculous. But for
so
the
when it
most part,
happens, it
if you have
happens.
the talent and good actors and the good writing, you're gonna do you're gonna do okay. The Boys is a perfect example. Good example.
Yeah, but not everything is the boys. Not everything comes out like that. Especially
I
when
know,
it's
that's
such a huge
unfortunate.
True.
project. Like, believe me, I'm telling you this right now. If things like Batwoman had good writing, and yeah,
you're
I would
right.
love it
You're right.
because I know
You're
that the
right.
comics are good. I'm not
Yeah.
really a
The
huge fan
comics
of
are
her, but when I
amazing.
read something, yeah, it's good. I like her characters in a lot of the new 52 things. So to
You're
have
right.
a good show, I don't think no one's against the idea of having a good show. But when you come out of the gate with all this kind of pandering and putting down other people and stuff like
Yeah.
that, I don't really fault anyone for saying, "Oh, it's gonna be woke." When it came out, the first season was bad. The second season is basically there, and the third season, I'm pretty sure no one knows that it's even out. So what am
Wait,
I
there's a
supposed
third
to
season
believe?
out.
Yeah, it's a third season out, and you know what they're doing?
Oh, don't they
Instead
have
of having
Poison Ivy?
no, this another character basically becomes Poison Ivy. You know what
Okay.
they're doing?
I'm
They're not
still
having the
confused about
characters.
that.
They're not having the characters from the Batman comics coming into the show and being like the villains. They're having like, oh, Killer Croc's blood. He bit someone, and now someone's turning into Killer Croc, or someone got the Mad Hatter's hat, and now they
That's
have the
so
power
stupid.
of the Mad Hat.
You know
Yeah.
what? That
They're
could
not,
work if the writing was there. It actually
but
could
it's
work.
not there. It's not there.
That's I know. I'm saying
It's
it
at the
could work
level of
but it's
But
execution that fails.
but
it turned
Tristan,
into a
Yeah,
you're right.
weekly monster
the
cartoon. That's
execution.
basically it.
But to Shelby and Tristan, you guys are right. It is. I see what you're saying. Well, I know what you're saying right now, but what you're saying is hitting home right now. It all comes back to good writing and storytelling, which I want. So,
Yeah,
yeah, good writing and
Yeah,
storytelling.
no one. I don't think no
another
one
really
wants to
good
hate the
example I
things, but
thought
when
of.
Right.
they are bad, they're bad.
Oh no, I disagree there. I do think there is a certain
Yeah,
subset that want to hate.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Tristan.
But
Yep.
I do
definitely.
think there is a good amount of I guess you could call them SJW properties. I don't know, woke stuff that's been done really well. Like there I just recently reviewed Arcane. That is super woke and it is super good.
I don't even know
I
what
love
Arcane
it.
is. I just
I've
know
been
that you and
working
Bianca
on
made a
a
bunch of
review
videos
video
on
for
it.
Arcane forever now, but
It's
I
so
really
good.
just haven't had the time to release it.
Um,
The only thing that I know about Arcane is that it has that Jinx person, and I remember that in 2016 everyone was obsessed with her and with
I
Harley
am
Quinn.
now obsessed with her. I am not
You
she
know,
is my life. I love
I don't know
her.
why, but in 2015, people had a weird obsession with petite, pale women that were crazy. Now it's all about
Harley
buff
Quinn.
women. Yeah,
But
like
there's a
Harley
bunch of
Quinn.
examples. You guys remember Detroit Become Human? That was super
Yeah,
woke and it was phenomenal.
I don't think it was
Hamilton.
that good.
Oh my god. Get out.
I definitely
Yeah,
think
but
that it
with
was really on the
Hamilton,
nose about everything. Because you know what, my biggest argument against Detroit Become Human is that if we did get to a level where we got basically humans as servants, I bet that there will be so many activist groups that will be like, it's racist to have a servant, or that you can choose their race. It's racist to have this. In real life, I guess, I bet that that would be a counter argument in the lore of the show, but it's never shown that, and we know that it happens in real life. So that's something that I couldn't get out of my head when I was playing the game, is that if this happened in real life, there's no way that first people could buy humans basically, and that second you could be able to choose the race of your android or cyborg or robot, whatever they call them.
Yeah, but it was still awesome.
But
I mean,
Tristan,
it looked pretty good, but the story was really on the nose, and at the end it
Yes,
wasn't that
it
good.
was.
I love Connor, but some of the other things they don't land it.
but
Well,
Tristan,
we
you
know
mentioned
Shelby
something.
can be wrong.
Right.
Go ahead,
I
Kenneth.
know.
But no, but I want to go back to what you were making about the Batman characters, how they don't have their own stories. Nightwing, well, of all of them, Nightwing has been the closest. He had a good run, especially from Chuck Dixon, and he's has a couple of runs. But someone, I think Josh from the Batman, I know he
Oh,
writes
pop by
reviews.
culture.
Yeah, he's mentioned that DC has for a number of times have given Nightwing a run, but they won't allow him to get to that A-list level because then he would be overshadowing Batman. And
I
also,
think
you
that
mentioned Dan Didio. Dan Didio did not like Dick Grayson because the
Mhm.
older he got, that meant that Batman was getting older, and he did not like that. That's why he had Tom King put a bullet in his head, and we got Rick Grayson for over a year.
Oh, yeah, but there has been really great night. Like even the current Nightwing is really good. When he was doing Grayson and he had Midnighter with him, that was phenomenal. Nightwing
Tom Taylor's
deserves
doing the current
his own star
Nightwing, right?
power. What's
Is
that?
that
Tom Taylor's doing the current Nightwing, isn't he?
right?
Yep.
Yep, and he's doing really good too.
It's
Chuck
phenomenal.
Dixon.
I
Chuck
definitely,
Dixon's run is the best. Chuck Dixon.
I think that
Oh yeah,
Nightwing is
Chuck Dixon, you can't
is
beat
an
anything.
A-list
Like
character.
what's that?
I think that Nightwing is an A-list character. Like he can stand his own because people know they kind of get what Nightwing who he is. He was
He's the
a
heart
previous
of the
one.
DCU.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think that he has to be tied in the same way that to Batman, the same way that other characters have to be. Like the new I'm Batman character, yeah, he kind of has to have his whole personality be around Batman and Bruce.
Right.
But he's leaving Gotham at least, so that'll maybe hopefully separate him somewhat. Like if he's going to New York and he gets his own set of rogues, I'm totally okay with that. I think it's much better for the character.
If Jace Fox fights the Joker, I'm out. If he fights
Yeah,
the
I'm not all
Riddler,
about that.
back to what I'm saying with Miles Morales. If Jace Fox moves to New York and he can establish his own identity as Batman, I'll accept it. But
I actually think they're heading that way. In the last issue, when they killed earmuffs for the newest I Am Batman. When they killed the newest Simon State, and then they had that Victor character come in, I think that is the character we're going to be seeing follow him to New York because they already killed that Arcane guy. So I do think this moral authority and this guy with Fox Tech is who we're going to be seeing. I'm hoping I'm not giving John Ridley too much credit because he hasn't quite earned it yet.
no.
But he's very on the nose. Like if you're battling these alt-right moral authority, you're very on the nose. I'll give you a chance. But you gotta earn it.
Now this Black Panther he wrote was really good.
Oh, so good.
I hope these 6 issues he's doing are good and he can. We have never really had a solid Black Panther run. Yeah, Christopher Priest worked on it. We had Reginald Hudlin, but those issues we never had a classic run as to where Batman or Spider-Man or Superman have had numerous runs from all kinds of creators. I want a solid Black Panther run. If he can deliver it, then good. So
That's funny, Leo. Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that. I it's not bad. It's much better than his other history stuff. And the funny thing is when I was reviewing Wonder Woman Historia, I'm like, oh my God, this is the other history for women. Like, I did not like the other history. And I thought a lot of it was really way too tied into real world events. And like, Lex wasn't president and they changed that. And there was a lot of weird stuff they changed. And I'm like, oh my God, now I totally get why people really did this, spoke to some people because Wonder Woman Historia is that version for women. And a lot of people were hating on it. And I'm like, I know, I get it. It's not it. Oh my god, this is
You
gonna be the
know,
cringiest thing I say all night. It's not made for you.
Right.
She wrote it
Yeah.
with women in mind.
And did I
now
mention
that
this?
we, oh, sorry, go. You
I'm,
can
I'm
go.
sorry, I'm interrupting, man. Did I mention this coming to you, Tristan? Joshua
Is that
Williamson?
118?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's Batman Inc.'s coming back? Like, hell yeah.
Look, finally, after how many years, I finally feel like this comic book feels like a Batman comic book. Yes. And hell yeah, go to finish Batman Inc. Finish that story. Speaking of Grant Morrison, he never finished it. Yeah, so finish
Yeah.
it. Yeah, finish that thing. Yes.
I actually think this was a really good week in DC, period. Even that Batgirls book, the art took me a minute to get used to, but it felt very like young and something that could get kids into comics, and I'm all for that. Like, I'm all for that. If that's what you're doing, I've actually become quite a fan of Becky Cloonan's work. She's done a lot of good stuff with Wonder Woman lately. So yeah, I thought this was a pretty damn good week, to be honest with you. There was a lot of really well, that was last week, I guess, but still.
I wanted to ask because now if we're gonna, I don't know how long the stream is gonna go for, but
Right.
if we're kind of talking about this thing about female, and I remember asking you this, and you told me that it was a good question. Why are femme fatales okay when it's the opposite for characters like male characters who use that kind of sexuality? That's seen in
Who
a
said it's not
negative
okay
light.
for males to do the same?
Basically, if a femme fatale uses her sexuality to get what she wants or to win a fight, whatever, that's a good character. That's basically a superpower. But if a man uses the same kind of seductive power to, I don't know, get a woman to her knees and give him what he wants, that's kind of like seen as gaslighting or whatever.
Like James Bond.
I don't have an issue
Yeah, I was
with
about to
it.
say James Bond is basically that.
Yeah, but not every single character is James Bond.
But no, people
Right,
have
but I don't-
attacked
is his own
James
character.
Bond for the exact same reason. It's like the director of the latest Bond movie that came out, he accused Sean Connery of being a rapist.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Why are femme fatales okay while the same kind of ability or power for a man would be seen in a negative light? That's just something that I was thinking the other time, and I asked.
That's a good question.
Tristan.
I actually don't think there's an issue with men doing the same. I think if the storytelling's there, you're fine. But I do know that femme fatales rose out of a very nuclear family era. So it was a lot of that was empowering to women, and they were able to get some sort of independence, and it really rose out of that 60s era. I don't see femme fatales used near as much anymore, even really with a character like Black Widow. She's not really a femme fatale anymore. That's kind of thrown to the side a little bit, which I think is unfortunate in some cases because characters like Black Widow, that's intoned in her character. I think both work as long as you do it correctly and you don't make it like rapey. Like, I don't know what other way to describe it.
Guys,
I think the biggest femme fatales are in DC, like Poison Ivy, Catwoman, kind of femme fatales. I think I don't really know of any.
I love them.
Marvel.
And I
in
think,
Marvel, I would say like Mystique maybe.
Nightwing's kind of like that. Like, Nightwing's got the booty. Come on, no girl can say no to the booty.
Yeah, but he doesn't. I don't remember any time that he's seductive.
I don't know.
That is an obsession. What is
it's an obsession with women.
I don't know, but it's really funny.
People asked Chuck Dixon that what is with Nightwing, but he didn't even know what. I think he said because he's an athlete and acrobat. Spider-Man has that same thing too because
it's always drawn perfectly. Just saying.
Of all the things,
you think they have like
a perfectly? It's his ass. Okay.
You think they have a separate artist for his ass?
Like I think when they get hired, like when they hire that artist, they're like, "Listen, you got to make sure the face is good, and you got to make sure the butt. The rest, the costume, fuck it. Just make sure those two things are good." And they're like, "All right, we got this." Bruno Redondo, he's doing it right now, and it's awesome.
If I'm a man and I say that about Huntress, people will be looking at me funny.
Maybe, maybe, but I wouldn't. I totally get it. Like,
I'm just kidding.
Poison Ivy. the hottest girl in the DCU. Poison Ivy is a freaking beautiful. Okay, wait, hold
Yeah,
on.
but Poison Ivy is
Catwoman
basically
kind of is
power.
close.
Yeah, like, but when you have someone like Poison Ivy whose power, not now, but when her main power used to be like, oh, she kisses people and she seduces and she like brainwashes people, that's pretty rapey when you
Yeah,
think
that
about
is.
it.
Yeah, but I didn't think about it then.
Excuse me,
Yeah, because
guys.
she's a woman or because
No, because I was like 8 when I started reading comics. What's that,
Guys, I
Kenneth?
gotta
does
head
that
out.
for-
Yeah,
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I was actually going to wrap up anyway. So thank you so much, Kenneth. I really, really appreciate you coming on. You're welcome back anytime. You are awesome.
you too, guys. It's been a wonderful, wonderful pleasure talking with you guys, debating, talking about entertainment. I love this community. I love superheroes. Now, Tristan, you're not a Marvel fan, right?
I'm limited. I've gotten into more. I've been reading the I picked up Black Panther and Devil's Reign, and I've been really, really loving the oh my god, I was gonna call him Ghostmaker. I forget his name.
Ghost
He's all
Rider?
white.
Ghost Rider?
If you're a Donny
Ghost-
Cates
Oh,
fan,
Wait, Moon
pick up
Knight?
his store. His store
Moon
run
Knight.
is his store run is amazing. Love Donny
Awesome.
Cates in the store. And Symbiote Spider-Man by Peter David. Peter David needs to be writing the Spider-Man main line because his work is amazing. Especially, this is the best Spider-Man title that's been going on for a minute. So definitely pick these up, guys. It's been a pleasure. Everyone have a wonderful evening. Take care, Tristan. Mwah. Thank you.
Thank
very much.
you.
Have a good one.
You too,
Bye,
guys.
Kenneth.
Bye bye.
Since I'm guessing that the
Yes.
stream is ending, right?
Yep,
So
we're gonna wrap up. So, thank you guys. Is there anything else you guys wanted to add before we head out?
I wanted to add my recommendation for probably the year.
Yeah.
If anyone cares, because I don't think I'm going to be in a stream after this. I guess I have too many hot opinions.
No, you do not. You did great.
Yeah, I love doing these kind of community things. I think they should be done more often. But yeah, my recommendation for the entire year, my book for the year is Baby Teeth by Donny Cade. I read it. It's so good. It's basically the story about motherhood. I think it's what Mother of Madness wanted to be.
That was actually
That's-
one of the first probably 10 comics I reviewed. I told people to jump up on. It's so good, isn't it?
Yeah, but I generally like felt emotions for it. It's good, and I don't even have to relate to the character because she's a mother. I relate to the character because she struggles in a lot of forms, and
Uh-huh.
I actually teared up at the end. So that's my
Aw, that's
recommendation.
so
If anyone wants, my recommendation for the year is Baby Teeth by Donny Cade. I'm pretty sure it came out in 2016, maybe. So I'm actually getting a hard copy because I love it.
It's so
I
good.
definitely wanna
Yes,
read it now, though.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And read
It's
Stray
really
Dogs.
worth it. Go ahead, Raymond. What'd you say?
Read Stray Dogs. That's my recommendation.
Yes. I read it all in one night before me and Drew recorded because I was like, I have to get it. I have to get it in. Everyone's talking about how good it is. And I'm like, I'm not crying. You're crying. So
No,
good.
that
It
story
really,
is
really is.
amazing.
Also, Crossover is pretty good too.
Crossover is so good.
Yeah,
Crossover
it's also
that made my top 10 this year. So good.
Are you gonna make a top 10 of
I
the
already
year?
did. It's uploaded already. Me and Drew from Comics Elite made one.
Oh, cool.
Yep, it's on the channel. So we're gonna head out, guys. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, let me. Yeah, if anyone cares about me, there's maybe a chance that I'm gonna make a channel next year to talk up,
Hell
not
yeah.
talk about politics,
Ooh,
just
awesome.
talk about whatever. And I don't know how it's gonna go, but okay, that's just keep an eye out for that if it happens.
Yes, we
Cool.
absolutely
But yeah.
will.
Happy Christmas,
Yeah.
everyone.
All right, guys. We will see you later. Thank you guys all for coming, by the way. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Happy holidays, Tristan.
Thanks, you too.
Happy holidays, Raymond. Happy holidays,
Bye,
Dan.
guys.
Happy holidays, Shelby.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye.